was blocked off. I had to end up backing up about half a mile, turn around and escape. I turned around, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be too much. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this intro, I'm filming at a later date. It's February now, and I was editing and realized I didn't film an intro to this video. But this trail we're gonna go down is listed as moderate on Onyx Off-Road. It's called Rocky Run. It's in Virginia in the George Washington National Forest. And it's not that hard, but if you care about your paint and you don't want to get scratches on your car, this isn't the trail for you because it's fairly overgrown in some spots, and I got plenty of pinstripes on the car. No major mechanical damage or anything like that, but there is some scratches and some dents. But it ended up being a great trail. About 4.5, 5 miles into the trail, there is a gate, and you can go around it, but I don't recommend it because, as you'll see in the video, it gets pretty sketchy and you can't actually make it all the way down the trail. So if you want to do an out and back trail, it's a great option. There's plenty of places to turn around when you get to the gate, so you can get back to the parking lot where the outro was filmed. But I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you at the end. So I filmed an entire video yesterday on what your stock 2025 Wrangler Sport S can handle. And I didn't feel like that video really did, your Jeep justice. It was very easy, nothing too crazy at all, really. I'm gonna show most of that video, but if you stuck around to the end, here's a trail that's listed as moderate on the Onyx Off-Road. But I've taken part of this trail once before up here, probably 25-30 yards from where we currently are. I decided to turn around because I was getting high centering on some stuff, or low centering. I was catching the bottom end on some rocks, so decided to turn around. But looks like we got a truck up here. It's gonna let us by. That's nice. That's about in the spot where I turned around last time. This one's not super hard, just more rocky than the trail we were on yesterday. And then like a spot like this, I'm gonna drag the center just a little bit unless I can finagle it just right.
last time. Didn't high center. That's a plus. Let's see if we can go down this area without fucking it up too bad. This is all uncharted waters now. I didn't go this far last time. Same as yesterday, I don't have anybody with me, so I'm gonna take it nice and easy, and if I feel uncomfortable, I'll turn around. But the nice thing with this trail, you know, I'm plugged into my car, so I have CarPlay going. It shows, you know, CarPlay on my screen on my Jeep here, so it's nice to know where the trail is going to go without, you know. Also, with this Onyx off-road stuff, it tells you whether you can disperse camp or not. So like this one, this says, and I'll show you a video of it later, but this one says allow within 150 feet of the road. So it was a plus. You'll know before you get to the trail whether or not it's, you know, a good place to camp or not. Well, at least not good place, but at least whether or not there is a place to camp. If the ground wasn't frozen, it probably wouldn't be as bumpy as it is. It's only 22 degrees out this morning, so. Starting to get back in some overgrown stuff. But I would say this trail, it's called Rocky Run Trail in Virginia. It's marked as moderate. The first half, you know, I would say the first half is pretty hard. Definitely not doable unless you got four-wheel drive. Definitely help to have a higher, you know, a high clearance four-wheel drive. But again, this is a stock Jeep, four-door, and it's doing fine. A little bumpy, but that's what happens when you drive off-road. Firewood's making some noise in the back. The steepness of this doesn't really show up on camera, especially in my iPhone, but I'm at, according to my Jeep, about 11 degrees, between 11 and 9 degrees of decline here, of angle. Which isn't much, but still some. My commentary on this is hysterical. Sorry in advance for whoever watches this vehicle. and watches this video. Put it down in 4 low. That way I can just crawl, not have to ride the brakes too much. Trying to drink a Red Bull while going down this is not easy. Still going at about a 7-degree decline, descend. I don't know what the proper word is for that. I don't know if you've noticed, I've said it a few different ways. Now we're down into 10 or 11. By the time this trip's done, this little weekend trip, I'll have put like 5,800 miles on this thing. Big rock to my right. This is where I wish I had some rock sliders. Probably won't really need them, but it would be nice to have them. It's right here in this spot. Again, hard to tell on video, but I'm 12 degrees to the left, leaning to the left, and 9 degrees leaning to the front. Cleared everything, but it would have been nice to have some rock sliders. The last trip I made, I think it was on this trail actually, is where I got my scratch on the Jeep. I'm gonna end up putting metal cloak. I'm gonna end up putting metal cloak rock sliders with steps on this, so it'll be covered up eventually. But for right now, there's a little scratch. Oh, let's pray this hole isn't super deep. I'm gonna try to hug it. Throw it through there. Oh, okay, not deep at all. Love the sound of breaking ice under tires. But that frozen ice all the way over is a good sign that nobody's been up this trail, so shouldn't encounter anybody else. Now I got you plugged into my car, so I have no idea how the microphone's working. My luck. I'm gonna have to voice over all of this. You won't even hear any of this talk. Or the microphone will be working fine, and I'll sound like you'll get annoyed with my talking by the end of this video. Nice dispersed camping site over there to the left. And if you decide to take this trail, this Rocky Run trail, if you're trying to, test your Jeep, same with that other Forest, it is Forest Service Road 72. Same with that one when it turns into the single track. Getting there is really easy. It's all, like I said, it's all that gravel road with, it's 2 lanes. You can fit 2 vehicles in most spots. And I'll pick which video I want to post when I start to edit this, so you'll know whether or not. You'll know what that front section looks like. It's about 20 minutes of driving on that front section, 21 or so, to get to the T, where if you continued straight, it's still technically Forest Service Road 72. It's just up in the woods, single track. Or if you turn left there on the Rocky Run, you got about a mile and a half maybe of more of that gravel stuff into a big parking lot where there's a 4-wheeler, ATV, dirt bike trail, and then off to the right there's this trail. Well, we got a tree down up here. I don't know if we're gonna make it around that. Looks like we can squeeze by it, or squeeze over it, or get out and move it. Now we can make it over that. Smart thing would be to move it. I think I'm gonna get out and try to move it. That's a pretty sharp piece right there. Should make it a little easier to get by. Switch back to 4 high. Till we get to some more steep descends. It's pretty easy at this point. Another dispersed camping site off to the left there. They're about 3,300 feet of elevation. And this looks like it could be fairly deep because we'll see how deep it is, and then we'll decide if I want to take that. There is a cut around to go around it. As you can tell, here I was dragging my bottom on the rut, really not even any rocks or anything, but that's the nice part about most of these trails. There is a go around, as long as nobody's hot rodded to go around. You can opt to skip, although there's a pretty nice sized rock there in the center. So we're going to see if that's going to cause a problem. I'll try to hop over it with a tire. I caught it a little bit on the bottom side, but still a good option to go around. I probably could have made it through that puddle, but with no skid plates besides the factory plastic one in the front and nothing in the middle besides the factory, I didn't want to risk it. Probably coast this in 2-wheel drive, honestly. Take this to the right. I know. And I think I just popped the tire. Less than ideal. Did not pop a tire, but I did add to the, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Right up in there is a scratch from the first time. Did not pop the tire, but I did get a nice dent. Bent my pinch weld a little bit. Nice dent there. Tire's good though. That's a plus. And that little rock right there, that's crazy. Uh-oh, must just been the angle I was at. But, well, got his first dent, which will again be covered up by the rock sliders. So, no biggie. All right. Super happy it's not a tire because, let's be honest, changing a tire on this trail right in this spot would be kind of a pain in the ass. Everybody I've talked to about modifications for your Jeep, and the first thing you should do, they always say, oh, you should do lifting tires, you know, get higher up off the ground, get better tires, get better wheels. As someone who has already put almost 6,000 miles on their Jeep and enjoys going out and camping, you know, car camping on the weekends, or even during the week sometimes. My schedule's pretty nice, it allows me to do that. Armor is the first thing I would do, like major modifications to your Jeep. Sure, do the aesthetic stuff, you know, the 50, that was less than ideal. Sure, do the small stuff like my center console, organizer, and the small things I did to the Jeep to make it more mine. That was fun, easy, you know, under $50 per one. But when it comes to armor and, you know, off-road ability stuff, I would go skid plates, differential covers, stuff like that. Especially if you're going to try trails like this. But I think normally I would just do trails that are marked easy. Again, this trail is a moderate one, and I'm doing it to show you that you can do this kind of stuff in your stock Wrangler, as long as you're not afraid of beating it up a little bit. Everything the noise I just made from running over a random rock, and, you know, the high, you know, hitting the bottom on that rut in the mud puddle, and then denting the side there, the rocker, you know, my rocker panel. All that could have been avoided with a lift kit and bigger, or, you know, at bare minimum, bigger tires. You know, if I had some 33s or even some 35s here, you know, you could have cleared that because you'd be sitting up a few inches higher. But if you bought a Jeep to use it, to off-road it, you know, to enjoy the outdoors and do this kind of stuff, those little dings don't really matter. They're one of many. If this is the kind of stuff you're gonna be excited to do. I'm in neutral for some reason. About 12 degrees of angle here, going down about 0 to 2 to the right. We're getting down there in the back towards normal elevation for this area. We've lost about 500 feet of elevation so far. It's sitting around 3,000. There's a little mud puddle up there. Hopefully it's not too deep because there's no go around. I do see a rut in the center, so we're going to hug it to the right. Not bad at all. Now we start climbing a little bit. I think a wrap is a good idea for this thing. After all the pinstripes it's going to have from branches and whatnot, I think getting this thing wrapped is a good idea. Can't tell you how happy I am that I didn't pop a tire. I'll take a dent over a popped tire any day, especially by yourself on a trail, you know, miles from the closest road. I think in that spot I had some cell service. I got about 1 to 2 bars of LTE. I got Verizon. They do pretty great out here, but you know, there's spots that are spotty. also, it's a single track road, so where I was, you have to come up from the south end, and still there's no, you're not getting towed out, so you have to just change the tire. And I got all the factory stuff to do that, so had we popped the tire, I'd been fine. I could have gotten it off the rim and got the new one on, but I'm much happier with the dent. Thankfully, somebody else has come through and cut these big trees up with their chainsaw. It's pretty easy going now. It's almost like we're driving on grass. Not almost, I mean, we're driving on grass. Probably avoid that, but I kind of like mud, so. It's gonna be interesting. This one not so much. That one I'm definitely gonna avoid as much as possible. I feel like that's pretty deep. I'm also going to try to avoid that one. 35 minutes in on this trail. I'm probably about halfway done. So it'll probably take about an hour, maybe a little more. I haven't seen too many dispersed campsites except for those first few that I mentioned in the video. There was a bottom end of my some nice rocks in this section. I'm going to try to avoid hitting the bottom of my car. Keep checking my tire pressures. Worried that I did actually pop it and it's just playing tricks on me. probably fast forwarding through this part of the trail. A low hanging tree. Nice big mud puddle. Hopefully it's not too deep because there's nowhere to go around it. I'm just gonna hug the edge. It's rocky. Deep. Trying to miss this thorn bush by going way high. Still got it. It's kind of funny, this trail goes from like grass and mud to rocks with pretty much no warning. pretty steady moving now. Probably won't even show this part of the trail. Honestly, probably show us snippet and then just put an outro on. Nothing really crazy. Maybe it might get kind of rocky, literally and figuratively. A tree fell down. It's overgrown. Those loose rocks really get you. You like to bend up and smack it off. Trail's getting a little tight here. See if we can squeeze in here. We're gonna have to clear that because I cannot get underneath that. And I'm sure not turning around. I'm gonna have to bleep that part or cut it out. I don't know if I have a saw. I have a hatchet. Well, tree is cut down. Note to self, bring a saw as a hatchet and a bone saw for deer hunting. Takes an hour to cut through an 8-inch log. 9-inch log, whatever it was. Took far longer than it should have. And now I'm out of breath and tired because I'm fat and out of shape. Probably not going to start this film until well, the tree is cut down. Note to self, if you're going to off-road, bring some kind of actual saw, chainsaw, battery operated, something like that. Because I just spent about an hour with a bone saw made for deer hunting and my hatchet that, you know, let's be honest, it sucks even with resharpening it about every fourth or fifth blow. Cutting through an 8-inch log. Either bring a proper wood saw or bring a battery operated chainsaw. I should have time-lapsed that. You would have got a good laugh out of me trying to cut that stupid tree over, or tree in half. I'm gonna be honest, if there's another tree and I can't move it by hand, I'm just gonna turn around. I'm gonna crawl this back up to the top of the mountain where I know I can get through. Oh, this rock is gonna flip up. God, somebody already cut that one. Mud. One thing's for sure, if you care about your paint and not getting little twig scratches, this is not the trail for you. I care about my paint, but I also enjoy going off-roading, so it's a price you gotta pay.
I made it through this. You can make it through in a stock Wrangler, but it's tough. The ice is pretty thick. The Jeep's okay for the most part. No more dents, but I did break a tab on the fender flare, so when I get back to civilization, I'll need to zip tie that. Looks like I broke. Well, that one didn't break. I only broke 2 tabs. The other 2 just popped out, so I'm gonna pop those back in real quick. But no major dents or anything like that. Got it a little more muddy than I was planning on. This side was, I don't know, like 3 feet deep, maybe a little worse. I tested it with a stick. At that end, it was real deep. Actually, for a second, I got stuck. I turned the camera off because I wanted to just focus, but it's just this sandy, wet slush and then all the ice. So kept pushing me further and further into that ditch and or into that side. I think one of the pieces of ice ripped the plastic tabs off, but those are easy to replace. Made it through almost towards the end of the trail. So problem was there was no way to get around it. Like there's this little cut around, but my Jeep's not making it through that gap between those trees. That was the only other way to get around. I thought that one would be easier than this one. Maybe it is, maybe it wasn't. But we're gonna continue on the trail now.
catch myself on this one. Oh my God, it's just a log. Oh, God, please be low, tall enough. Oh, that's a problem. You gotta be kidding me. Shit. Small problem. Gate, and there's a go around. There's a tree up there. I don't think I can get out. I think I have to turn around and go back up this fucking trail. Could have turned around and gone the 5 miles back up the trail, or finished the trail and it's about a half a mile. Hopefully we can get out of here. Be really bummed if I have to turn around and go back up that hill, considering I barely made it down the hill. Big tires needed for sure. Not including this part in the video. So close to being done with this. Don't love the look of this. perfect place to flip. I don't think I'm making it through that.
tough. It was 4.6 miles to where the road was blocked off. I tried to go around it, and it was worse, blocked off. I had to end up backing up about half a mile, turn around in a sketchy part, and then drive that entire trail back. This is the aftermath with the Jeep. It's definitely got plenty of scratches. Sorry about the wind noise. So we got plenty of scratches. I lost the center cap. Well, I broke the center cap. I still have it. For this wheel and the fender, clips popped off. I got stuck in a little ice hole, water hole. And then on this side, you can't really see it now because of the mud, but there's a nice sized dent in there, and I hit the pinch weld. But I'd say with minor damage, you can off-road your Jeep as at a bone stock level. You know, it did. This is the entrance to that trail. I had tried it once before, and I turned around. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be too much damage to the Jeep. You know, a stock Jeep. And like I said, I only had it a week back then, but you can go off-roading and explore and see views. You know, this is gorgeous up here. But you can go and do all this stuff with a stock Jeep. Again, 2025 Wrangler Sport S, and nothing that I messed up today is expensive to fix. You know, a couple new clips for the fender and a new center cap. I mean, eventually the fenders will get replaced anyway, so it's really not that big of a deal. And the little dent, you know, it's going to be covered by rock sliders anyways. But you can get out there and explore with your stock Wrangler, and I hope you guys do. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next episode.